Drunken Peasants Podcast.
I gotta get a witness. No!
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true. Sometimes I cry.
Oh!
Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast, episode 1047. Doing it live again on a Tuesday. And we got Chesh back again. And for the first time, we have Colonel Kurtz joining us. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Colonel Kurtz, let everyone know who you are and what you do here. For those of the viewers that are
for our oblivious fan base.
Yeah.
No. You don't have to say that. There are a lot of people who don't know me. So I'm actually I consider myself a pretty new YouTuber. I've been doing this about a year, a little over a year. And so I basically got into YouTubing because I wanted to talk about the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard situation. And so this was over a year ago, before the trial and everything, obviously. So I started making videos about that. And then I got interested about a month after I started making those videos. Then the Marilyn Manson allegations came out. And so I got interested in that, started covering that, and kind of have just found this sort of strange niche where I make videos about people that I think have been falsely accused of Me Too type allegations. And so, yeah, Johnny Depp is a big one that I've been talking about recently.
Yeah, and that type of content has blown up so huge. Like, your channel is on fire, and then, someone like that Umbrella guy actually got mentioned in the testimony.
Yeah, no,
that killed me. That killed me about the same amount as when Amber's lawyer told her, or mentioned the hashtag Amber Turd, and now that just exists forever in court documentation.
Yeah,
I know. So many unforced errors by Elaine in this trial, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm 12.
One great thing that came out of this is we have our Mega Pint T-shirt now.
Yes. Did you know I did the math to find out how much that actually was in the glass he was carrying around?
What's the math?
The math is that it's about half of... Oh, I don't have one with me. It was... let me look at my own video.
Did you know that around the time that Elon Musk broke up with Amber Heard, he tweeted about mason jars with a handle or wine stem that make him lose faith in humanity?
That's really funny.
Yeah, right here. He did an interview with Joe Rogan around this time, and somehow mason jars came up, and he just out of nowhere, Elon Musk was like, some people buy them with wine stems on them.
Does that mean she got the mega pints in the divorce?
Yeah.
It's only 355 milliliters.
That's nothing.
It's about as much as a can of pop.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually have mason jars that are about that size. And the way I did it was I had a Powerade bottle that I called a Gatorade bottle. And I just poured like a glass. I just poured as much water as I could into it. And then I traded it out to be like, how much is this? Science!
I'm glad you did the math.
Awesome guests. Awesome show. Amazing sweet boy.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing.
Thank
Stephen
you
Hawking will
for
interrupt
up this
from time to time.
Situation individuals.
Thank you, Charlie Chase.
But yeah, so do you think the reason why this sort of stuff has gotten so much attention, is it the pendulum swinging the other way? Like, it swung so far to where, like, any allegation is just automatically believed, to where, like, people like Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein were being grouped in the same category as, like, Louis C.K. and,
right.
Other people that didn't... their worst crime maybe was just being awkward.
I remember Aziz Ansari, he was canceled, and it seems like he was just a poor communicator.
Yeah.
I felt really sorry for him, with that, because that was a very embarrassing article, and all it did accuse him of was basically being a bad date. But like some of the stuff in there, I felt really bad. Like, you must be very feel very self-conscious to try to date after that. Everybody having read this ridiculous article about your kissing technique and how you like to stick your fingers in the woman's mouth. She called it the claw, didn't she? But anyway.
Some women like having fingers in their mouths.
Oh,
like,
almost every woman I've ever met, my mom excluded, likes that.
We were covering a lot of news stories when a lot of this broke, and I would see, on CNN or MSNBC, they'd bring up a list of names of people who were getting Me Too'd. And there'd be, Weinstein and Bill Cosby at the top, but then there'd be all these other people that didn't do anything even close to as bad, if anything at all. And it just, like, heads just started rolling. I actually watched the documentary about Anthony Bourdain that came out recently, how he got caught up in all that stuff.
Yeah, he was a big proponent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he got caught up into it because he was in love with a woman that was making Weinstein allegations, and it turned out she had her own skeletons in her closet.
Well, I think just about everybody has probably had an awkward situation with somebody that didn't work out perfectly, and one side can look at it in a way that is damaging. You can hurt people without understanding you're hurting people, without really doing anything out of the ordinary even.
It's intention, right? It's intention versus like whether or not someone is actually harmed or not, because you can do harm without ever intending it. And I don't know. We live in a weird world right now where redemption for minor mistakes it's not possible, because minor mistakes are being put on the same level as something that like is atrocious.
They are. There's definitely a lot of stuff that's being grouped together, and what I think a lot of people are tired of is the feeling that there's no sort of, to use a term we've all heard, due process. There's not really any due process in these media trials where someone's just overnight canceled because of allegations. And, in some of these situations, the allegations actually may be really serious. Like, for instance, the Marilyn Manson thing, there are some serious things being alleged by some of the women. But my objection is that in a lot of these cases, there are big logical inconsistencies that are being overlooked. There are a lot of shady things that some of the accusers have done that they're overlooked, and there's not evidence. And so I think what people are getting really sick of, or just me personally are getting sick of, is feeling like, these days people have to be automatically canceled just on mere allegation. And then you're right. Some of these cases, a number of these cases, it's not even like Aziz Ansari or like Chris, what was his name?
Dahlia?
The Nerdist guy.
Oh, no, Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick. Yeah.
I tell you, that was like really the canary in the coal mine for me, because that was a case where it was clearly a disgruntled ex-girlfriend who, it turns out, had been cheating on him, and he had the text to show it. But a disgruntled girlfriend who basically you could see in that Medium post that she posted that she was really basically rewriting her history just to try to get him and say this was a bad boyfriend, and that's the stuff I really just. I really hate,
Well, that's abuse,
it's
isn't
not
it?
good. Yeah, it's abusing the system. It's taking advantage of the
strangely
population.
enough, the woman that accused Chris Hardwick was known for working with Max Landis, who also got Me Too'd and canceled.
Yeah, he seems to be a bit of a prick.
I had not heard that. So what was that about? Like sexual harassment?
Yeah, it was something. He was accused of like being like a sex pest, and he's the son of Jonathan Landis, the director.
I think a lot of the accusations were that he was like an actual just a prick. He was like inconsiderate, and it was like he wasn't a very good person with these girls. And
Right.
I don't know if there was anything beyond him being a prick. I tried to look for it and I gave up because most of it was like, he's a prick. He treated me like this. And it's like, yeah, that's
Sadly, being an asshole is not criminal.
No, not sadly. Not sadly. Being an asshole should be legal so you can understand what an asshole is like so you don't find yourself married to an asshole because you never experienced one until right then and there.
I find in a lot of these situations, it may have been, a lapse in judgment where they did do something wrong, but then a hate mob converges, and then rumors start where like any negative rumor about this person is automatically believed. A lot of it.
Oh, we saw that with Onision.
What we saw it with Pro Jared. Like he had a bad divorce, and next thing you know, he's a child predator. The child predator one gets used all the time.
Whoa.
Yeah, my friend went on the show before. He had a bad divorce, and people were accusing him of like grooming children and being a rapist. And he had to. It ruined his career, but he made a string of videos pretty much showing all the receipts. It's said that people have to do that.
Yeah. No. You're right, and here's the thing too, is that I am very uncomfortable with the way that the term grooming is being used now to refer to adult women, maybe women who are 18 or 19 or they're in their 20s, but like you're talking about how people are offended by this bad behavior. Like Cary Fukunaga? Is that how you say his name? But the famous director who there were a couple of women who came out and said that when they were young, they were of age, but they were, I don't know, young, maybe 18, 19, and that he tried to get them to have a threesome with him, and he wouldn't. He strung them along romantically. He wouldn't commit to either of them. And basically, I'm sorry, but non-gentlemanly behavior is not a reason to cancel someone. And I do feel like some of what's going on right now is that we've lost the sort of old-fashioned ideas about gentlemanly behavior and about women need to be ladylike and all of that, which is fine. But we lost something with that. And I almost think that some men now are being held to account in some of these situations for behavior that in the past was just unknown as being ungentlemanly. I don't know.
If two women want to fight over a dude and make an anime harem, they're more than welcome to. That's none of our business.
But then also later on,
my business.
But then later on, if those two women get together and decide to corroborate the same story, they can cancel that guy.
Right. Damn it, Billy.
Well, there's I think the pendulum is swinging. I think so many people have had cancellation accusations that they're realizing now that we all can't be this bad, and so it's like it's evening out.
Or some people are like, oh well, it was Johnny Depp had false allegations, but I never liked Marilyn Manson, so I think he's guilty.
Well, I think people do that regardless. They always form their own opinions on things.
It's always biased.
Yeah, well, I remember with the O.J. Simpson trial, it was like we were split. We're like, he's guilty, he's not guilty, he's guilty, and I don't care. He's not guilty.
I was in like the 8th grade, so I really didn't care.
I'm curious if maybe it has a little bit of something to do with people are tired of the sensationalism of these kinds of cases where you get burned out. So if every single time some woman says something or somebody accuses somebody of something, there has to be some big hullabaloo about it every single time, eventually you're going to get tired. Like, it's exhausting.
Right. And I think that, and look, I mean, let's not underestimate what a huge impact the Amber Heard Johnny Depp is having. And and to some, there are some ways in which that's unfortunate because there are some genuine victims who will be less believed now, but on the whole, I think it is a really positive reminder to us that women are capable of lies and deceit and even sometimes constructing hoaxes if they want to get a guy for some reason and if they want to hurt someone. And I've had for many years, I've had a number of friends who would swear to me that women do not lie about stuff like that. Women do not lie about those things. And I'm sorry.
Women being vindictive is a trope.
I've literally heard people try to tell me statistically false essay accusations almost don't exist. Like they're marginal. It's like, how can you even have a statistic on that?
No, okay, so where they're getting that, that's one of the problems, is that actually there's not good research on that, and the research that we do have, it's kind of across the board. Now, what they would say is that there are a couple of studies that showed that that the police cases in which the police were able to prove that something was a false allegation was like something like 2%. But most of the research that's been done on this that I think is fairer shows that probably anywhere from 10 to 25% of allegations, these types of allegations, are false. That's a big number.
Yeah,
and just like
it's higher than COVID numbers.
Just like we wouldn't rely on statistics, like we wouldn't say, this person is guilty of this crime because they're a certain race and people of this certain race commit this sort of crime more often. Just like that's unacceptable, we shouldn't do that with genders as well.
Well, with what you were saying about the pendulum, I'm kind of hoping that what this isn't doing is not a backswing, but a centering, because it was an overcorrection into believe all women, and hopefully now it's correcting to where I'm seeing more often more people, even when coming to the Marilyn Manson case, because I know some of you were saying in one of your videos, Kurtz, you were saying that you were still hearing people talking about Manson not taking time to read it and just making snap judgments. And what I'm hoping, because I'm seeing a little bit more, I don't know if you are or if other people are, but more people are saying, well, maybe it's less about, believe as in take seriously and investigate, not believe as in you don't convict somebody off of allegations. You don't do anything. I don't think like Warner Brothers or Disney should be taking action until there is actually some kind of judgment that's come down.
I agree with you on that. No, I agree with you. And look, just not to get too deep into the Manson thing, but let me just say I totally understand why people have some of the negative views they do. But primarily, it's because there are multiple accusers. And I know that that's a really big hurdle for people to get past in their mind, the idea that you could have multiple women falsely accusing someone. So I get that. What I will say, though, is that things now with the media and Me Too and all this, it's gotten so crazy that to me it's actually not a stretch to think that you can have multiple people in on something, trying to get a celebrity or trying to get something from a celebrity.
Yeah.
So that's that
there was a woman who tried to like blackmail Critical Role over a character creation because her character had silver hair.
Really?
Yeah,
like people will do, and it was a girl, it was a woman. Wow, women lying about weird gaming things. What? Women don't play D&D.
Colonel Kurtz had a great analogy. She compared the Depp situation versus the Manson situation to Alien and Aliens, and I thought that was a good analogy.
I'm so glad that you liked that, because I think some people there were some people that I think were almost kind of offended that I was making light of it. But what actually, like, those are two of my favorite movies. I love the movies. I love them. Did you like Alien Covenant? I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
It's better than I expected.
I kind of like them all for what they are because I grew up with that, and I love sci-fi and horror, so the blend of the two is perfect for me.
Me too. Me too. So what I was kind of trying to do with the alien analogy, it was obviously tongue in cheek, but what I was trying to say is that it's really actually very similar, I think, to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, except it's just bigger, it's crazier, and part of that is because it's Marilyn Manson, and so he just attracts a lot more crazy. So. Anyway.
Is that what you think is like the biggest differences between the cases? Because there are things that are similar and things that are not. And I think one of the biggest ones that you mentioned was the multiple accusers is going to be a difficult one. Is there any other like ones that are major that stick out to you that are the same, or ones that are different?
Well, in some ways, I think actually Marilyn Manson has a stronger case because his suit against, so he has sued the two primary conspirators, as he thinks of them, Evan Rachel Wood and Evan Rachel Wood's ex-girlfriend, who featured prominently in Phoenix Rising. And so she and Evan and this woman basically were doing this, were recruiting the other women. Okay. So what happened is that Marilyn Manson is suing Evan and this other woman, and he's not just suing them for defamation, but he's suing them for all kinds of other things. He claims that they hacked into his accounts and tried to basically download bad pornography. I'm just going to say bad pornography and
illegal.
Send it to other people. Yeah, thank you, illegal.
Yeah.
They typed up a fake letter purporting to be from an FBI agent to try to recruit to get to join against Manson. So anyway, my point is, I do think one of the differences is that there's actually a lot more meat to his lawsuit. But yeah, I would say the main differences are the number of accusers, the fact that his lawsuit is more complicated, I think. And then also, don't underestimate this, the fact that Evan Rachel Wood is a hell of a lot better actress than Amber Heard. And so
yeah, I imagine Manson is an easier target too, because he's got quite the public persona.
Absolutely. And that that is a self-created thing. He created that persona and it worked well for him for a long time. It's not working so well anymore.
No,
it can't work in every situation.
I mean, he was, 25 years ago, he was getting blamed for school shootings, and it just bounced off of him like nothing.
Same with are we gonna get Me Too Eminem next?
Who knows?
Sorry, when you said bad porn, I laughed because I was actually thinking like poorly filmed, like it's on VHS.
No, that would be funny. This one's sad.
I laughed. I'm sorry. That's what my brain immediately went to, like bad acting. Like,
well, I like that you went there.
You're just too pure for this world.
Thanks. I'm gonna go back to drinking my weird chocolate almost looking milkshake that's actually just orange juice and rum.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, have you been following the Ezra Miller stuff that's been happening?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me about.
I did.
I'm not following it. Every now and then, though, it'll be like an eruption, like an outbreak of Ezra Miller and all some things. What is his deal exactly? Is he just really like aggressive?
I don't know. The police are trying to find him. He's been accused of grooming a teen, and supposedly they can't find him to serve him, and he may have ran off with the teenager. He's running around Hawaii, like causing all sorts of trouble. For those of you who don't know who Ezra Miller is, he played the Flash in the DC movies.
Why is it all the DC people that are causing the secondary DC characters are causing problems?
The alleged teen is some Native American girl that was part of the protesters against the Keystone Pipeline.
Really?
Yes.
This is the opposite of Marvel. Marvel's taken people with problematic pasts and brought them together and lifted them up. DC is like, let's take some shitheads and let them cause problems everywhere.
I thought one thing we'd do is go, because Amber Heard, part of the interview that she did with the Today Show was released, so I thought we'd go through that. And if you hear anything,
doing a live reaction to that on Sunday.
Yeah, and if you want to say anything, just speak up and I'll pause it and you can say whatever you need to say on it. Here we go.
This half hour, though, Savannah, with your exclusive interview with Amber Heard.
Yeah, that's right. This is Amber Heard's first interview since that high-profile defamation trial and its stunning verdict largely in favor of her ex-husband, Johnny Depp. We spoke about what happened in that courtroom and how she feels about all of it now.
Jealous. She feels
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it? It's surreal and difficult. In part, yes. This has been a long time coming. Do you?
What?
What?
Was that an answer to the question?
She's gonna be so incoherent in this. She's so incoherent.
Was this interview cut up like pretty heavily?
Yes. It was an hour-long interview, and the video is 10 minutes long.
Oh.
So the full interview is coming on Friday, but they're doing these segments to tease it. But yeah, it's definitely pretty heavily edited. So the idea that they edited it and this was the best that they got.
There's a bit in here that she just said though, where she said, "This has been a long time coming." You're you losing, Johnny winning, and you getting exposed as a liar has been a long time
Kind of a
coming.
weird answer. That's why I thought maybe it was a cut out of place or something.
It's not that cut up, but it is cut
It
up.
seems just like the timing of that response is awkward.
That's the way that she communicates. I don't know. I don't really know how much
She's trying to sound profound.
This, but like for some of us have been following this for years, and she's not a good communicator.
No, she's not. She's argumentative. She's not a good communicator, and she doesn't like answering questions. So she obfuscates a hell of a lot. So she wants people to think she's bigger and more grand than she is. So when she gives an answer like, "So are you processing this?" How could you? What I'm saying is so profound. Everything I've been through has been so much and so awful, and everything that I say has and carries so much weight. And everything that's happened to me is just something that matters and is so important to every single person out there that you haven't realized yet that I haven't actually said anything.
Right.
She's so narcissistic. Narcissistic.
I can just see when she first met Johnny Depp, she was probably like, yeah, I like old poetry. Sure. Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson, love him.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he said that she learned his taste in like jazz. Like he said that when they started dating, he thought it was so cool that she knew all of these different like esoteric jazz albums. But then what came out later, and I think it was her assistant, Kate James, former assistant, who said this, that she had like basically studied everything that he liked. And it's almost like the talented Mr. Ripley or something. But
and it's even better if you remember Dr. Curry's analysis of her, that she mirrors people when she wants to be liked and important. And who was the most important person on the Rum Diaries set?
Yes.
Johnny Depp. So she's mirroring him to make him like her and make her feel like she's bigger than she is.
Absolutely.
Your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse.
Of course, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
The best liars usually do.
Right.
Even the testimony that contradicted the other testimony.
Well, and don't y'all find that when someone is lying, then they'll say things like, "I swear to God, God can strike me dead right now if I'm not telling the truth," right?
Why would I ever?
Until my dying day.
Life drama of the defamation case between Amber Heard and her ex-husband Johnny Depp captivated millions of people around the world.
Can I say something really quick about Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the trial, towards the end of the trial, he just like came out of a cocoon into a butterfly. Like he looked so haggard and exhausted and like he didn't want to be there at the beginning of the trial. And then by the end of the trial, it was just like weight lifted. I am free of this bitch.
In 2018, he went through this and it didn't go in his favor, right? So he had to have a lot of anxiety coming into this one, not knowing what would happen, right?
Yeah, the UK trial is like sort of its own beast that has a whole lot of like, it's a ball of fuck. It's a ball of fuck.
But he has to expect that this could be similar if things went wrong, right? He's already had one case where it was a ball of fuck. And then when he realizes as he's going through that, the public is on his side, he seems to be winning. Like in the courtroom, I think he could feel pretty comfortable after the first couple of days, right? Once his buddy came on, the old Jewish man that was so jovial,
Isaac.
Yeah, he just changed the mood of the entire trial into something that was like it was going to be okay, right?
That guy was incredibly pivotal from like a PR standpoint that you would not believe. He is a PR professional's wet dream, that man.
He was definitely great, and he never missed an opportunity to slip in some barbs too. Like when she said, "You seem like the best part of his testimony was when Elaine said, "You seem like you're angry today," and he's like, "Angry? You mean about the hoax, the false domestic violence claims, the photos that she gave to the tabloids?" He just got all of that.
Elaine opened way too many doors accidentally that she did not Elaine went off the cuff. She allowed whoever she was examining or cross-examining to just kind of go in a direction that she was not ready for them to go in.
No, she wasn't. She was not. Terrible cross-examiner.
Amber Heard just got exposed.
Johnny, you hit me.
This is so cringe.
With clips
dog
spreading
stepped on a
across social
bee.
media like wildfire.
I think
It's weird how in court Amber Heard's team was arguing that Johnny Depp's career was messed up anyway because his public persona was already ruined. But now their excuse is like, oh, they were just intoxicated by being around their hero, Johnny Depp.
Right. That is a good point.
They like to try to have their cake and eat it too. It was like, oh, well, everybody was getting paid off by Depp, but then completely excuse Amber's friends who were basically leeching off of him and Amber herself. And then it was like, oh, well, actually, they were just enamored with who he was as a person. And they're like, I didn't know this guy. I'm a medical professional. Like, there's...
Right.
They want it both ways, right? They want to say that Amber is so high and Johnny's so high, except for this, except for this, except for this. And, oh, well, actually, she's really low when you compare it, but she's basically Jason Momoa. I don't know what you mean.
Vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this
No, it
trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok. And the
If you really only look at social media, you could say, these people online are bullying Amber Heard. Like, that's why she lost. Obviously, she's going to, the jury's not, they're going to be affected by the media frenzy, right? Like that's what you're going to say when you don't follow the actual trial. You're going to be able to fall into that. I know a lot of people that are friends of mine that were Team Amber, and I asked them, like, where do you get this opinion from? And they tell me, and it seems like they don't know a lot of the depth of they're like one thing was, well,
You have
she
a lot
already.
of friends who are team Amber? I'm sorry, you have a lot of friends who are Team Amber?
I have a few, yeah. I have a lot of.
Will any of them come and talk to me?
Seriously.
Of course not. They're not like personalities, they're women who feel like this sets a terrible precedent for women everywhere, and I think that's the message that Amber Heard's team has been pushing.
Right.
And I think these women, they're victims themselves, and they can only identify from a victim standpoint.
See, that's the thing.
Never ask a
Fear
witness a
mongering.
question
If
you
it-
don't have an answer to.
If it's happened to you, that like I know they're maybe not doing it intentionally, but they're making someone else's situation about themselves. Like because it happened to them does not make it any more likely that it happened to this other person.
Well, you also have to mainstream media is kind of painting the picture that
they are.
Amber is being railroaded and picked on by the internet. I think it was Kat 10 Bars was posting yesterday about how somebody made 6 figures on their YouTube channel from covering this, and it's like, well, how much does your corporate company make off of this? Like, there's money everywhere.
Me Too was the cash cow for a lot of journalism for a long time. That's why they don't want it to go away.
There's something that the mainstream media is doing, and they've been doing it for a while, and it's called fear-mongering. And part of it has to do with that they are trying to frame Amber Heard as the average woman victim. And she is not. Even if what she was saying was true, even if she didn't contradict herself and lie on the stand and yada yada, if she did have the evidence that she needed or any evidence at all to bolster her claim, she is not the average victim, because the average victim is not writing an op-ed in the New York or in the Washington Post. The average victim is not somebody who's going to be in movies. The average victim is focused on their own personal safety and getting out.
The average victim doesn't have TMZ on speed dial,
Right, exactly. The average victim is not going into tabloids to slander their ex to purposefully bring them and knock them down. Most victims, real life people, are people who are in really, really horrible situations, which Amber Heard was never in, who are focused on their safety and focused on getting to a situation or getting out of a situation and then focusing on healing as people, because it is a traumatic experience. Not this bitch. This bitch ain't not. This situation is not the average person.
Yeah. Well, I agree with what you're saying, and also I think that what you were saying, the other person, what you were saying about your friends is like maybe they're not as informed, because I know if you're not really informed about this situation, this case, then I could see totally how it would look like suddenly like the entire world just ganged up on Amber Heard. I mean, the TikTok videos and the YouTube videos and all of that, I think they're great. But if you don't know the degree to which Amber Heard tried to destroy this man, if you don't know really how pretty evil or crazy or whatever she is, then it can look like it's overdone. But I think what I keep trying to tell people is, no, you don't understand. She executed a multi-year hoax. Not only did she abuse this guy, first of all, throughout the relationship, and she admitted to it on tape, instigating fights, and she berated him for running away and all of that. But then she turned around and she tried to destroy him in all of these different ways. That is a real special kind of evil. So
there's also a mixed media happening right now, which I am really not a fan of, that you'll find the mainstream media doing. They're pretending that they're not on social media, and that social media isn't 1 or 3 websites, whereas the mainstream media is taking up radio, TV, all of the, like, you're not getting that umbrella guy on TV. If you're following this case on TV, you're following NBC here, who's pro Amber. This clip was posted on Twitter by NBC for people to watch, which is pro Amber. You can't pretend that social media hasn't been especially if you're going to focus on Twitter, at least split. At the very least. And they're trying to pretend that it's overwhelmingly Johnny Depp for no reason to slander Amber. Whereas slander Amber, it's actually been the opposite, because the mainstream media, you've got your Washington Post, you've got your New York Times, you've got your Huffington Post, you've got BBC, I went and looked, and over the course of, I spent maybe an hour and a half of just searching the top of Google, just searching Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, and I came up with over 70 articles in the headline that were pro Amber and anti Johnny Depp. That was without diving into the articles, and that was only from the past couple of weeks. That wasn't from a month before, or I had 1 or 2 that were from way back in the day, just to from 2016, just to make the point that they had been anti Johnny Depp from the beginning.
Wow.
So it's not what they're trying to separate. They're trying to separate this. They're trying to say oh, hey, no, listen, the social media has been slamming Amber Heard, when no, they're not. These are people. You've got Dr. Proudman, you've got this Michelle Dauber, who are both big name check marks, who have I already did one. I already did a Dumb Feck Friday on Michelle. We're doing one for Proudman on Friday. Oh, please come enjoy. It's a good time. But
I know we hijacked the interview here. I know he was trying to get through, and I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The interview. She's gonna say dumb shit.
It comes.
Anyway, I'm just saying they're trying to segregate. They're trying to segregate mainstream from social media, when the mainstream is on social media, as if they're not doing the same thing.
Yeah, I like how here at the beginning she claimed she didn't lie about anything, despite all the evidence that showed that she lied, but she's going to claim that 7 jury members are lying about looking at the internet while they go home at night. So
good point.
Yeah.
Into that, you think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this.
People online and crowds outside the courthouse.
This is
where they stood.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying "Burn the witch," "Death to."
Yeah,
you went out the back door.
And the whole microwave. I've been on the internet doing this kind of stuff forever. Nowhere near as high profile as Amber Heard, and I've gotten dumb death threats. And the whole we're going to put your baby in a microwave. That's just something a troll said on the internet. Unless they come and try to kidnap your baby, it's not.
You also can't blame Johnny for that.
Right.
Well, and I'm not even sure. Okay, the burn the witch thing, maybe, quoting one of Johnny Depp's texts, but did anybody really I never saw a sign that said death to Amber. I don't believe her when she said that she saw all of these horrible signs of people saying horrible things to her. I have been covering this for over a year, and I say some really controversial stuff, and I'm serious. I've never gotten a death threat, not once. The worst that I've ever got is people, insulting my appearance or just saying, "Oh, you dumb bitch" or whatever. But I've literally not gotten any communication so far that has truly worried me. And so when Amber says that, "Oh, I'm getting all these death threats and stuff," I don't really believe it.
Yeah, we also saw pictures and video from outside of the courthouse during the trial when it was publicized. Right, we saw images and we saw things like signs for like Justin for Johnny Depp and "We love you, Johnny," or pro Amber Heard stuff, but there was nothing anti either of them that was showing.
Are there any police reports filed by Amber Heard for these death threats that she's gotten? Like that would make me feel.
Of her other medical reports that definitely exist.
Yeah.
She is so worried about these death threats that she and her child are getting that she puts her child on Instagram frequently because that's how worried she and Evan Rachel Wood. That's one thing that they share. I will say this: Evan Rachel Wood claimed that she was terrified of Manson and even had to recently wanted to move to go to Tennessee with her son because Manson had threatened to do something horrible to her son. But she features her son frequently in Phoenix Rising. Like there are multiple scenes in the documentary where the focal point is her son, and you don't see his face. But I'm thinking, if you were really concerned about your child's safety and that there are these crazy people out there and Manson supporters that might want to hurt this child, you're going to make that child a focal point in your anti-Manson documentary? I just don't understand it.
There is somebody who I do that I follow a little bit, and I do know that they've gotten death threats. They've posted, like I've seen them. I'm not going to name names, but I've seen them post death threats, and there was some kind of contention.
YouTuber?
Yeah. A YouTuber who was receiving death threats. They didn't cover this case or anything. It wasn't related to this. It was a separate issue. And they had gotten threats. Their wife had gotten threats, and then their kid got in trouble at school. Then they did a vlog or a video about what their kid got in trouble for, yada, 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 because it was like related to, like the whole video was about like atheism in schools and different blah, 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 blah. Then he was concerned that there were people stopping in, because they lived in a small town, that there were people stopping outside of the house to harass the family. And I'm like, but then you put your daughter's name out there saying she got in trouble for school. And then they were like, but because of these death threats, we're moving. But then he said what city they were moving to. And I'm like, why are you stupid? I like you, but like, hello. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but sometimes people are dumb. Where they're just like, they don't actually consider the consequences.
I think it's dumb to make a for-profit documentary exploiting your alleged abuse before any due process has taken place. The whole, what's it called? Phoenix Rising?
Mm-hmm. It's on HBO. Now Evan Rachel Wood did not direct it, but she's the one who approached the director, Amy Burke, about it and everything. So it's her baby. And yeah, I think one of the things that I'm really uncomfortable with about that documentary, aside from the fact that there are some provable lies in it, but what I'm uncomfortable with is that it doesn't show anything other than Evan Rachel Wood's perspective. And yeah, it's, free speech and all of that. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be illegal or whatever, but it is really, I'm not happy with HBO for putting out another really biased documentary that's basically just a mouthpiece for the accuser. But anyway,
documentaries are I don't know. Free speech is weird to me because I'm Canadian. So it's like just a whole different beast to me. So every time somebody brings up like, oh, America has this free speech law, I'm just like, what?
And they get into the free speech aspect of it.
After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized.
I just want to say that this really cracked me up because I had in my head, when she says I saw a courtroom of Captain Jack fans, I had this in my mind, this image of like everybody doing like cosplaying. And
everybody's in your underwear except this Captain Jack.
Pirate Con in the courtroom.
Can you put into words how
they were all skelly men
felt?
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through.
You did it to yourself.
I have never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human.
Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
That's a good question.
And she literally responds by saying that's a good question. She wasn't prepared for this one.
No, that's actually a good question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes to you, but it
Answer the question.
wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Do you find that...
What? I mean, if she's lying, then she's the one making the unfair representation.
Oh, I tweeted about this. I saw that clip and I was like, oh no, because the answer is... Sarah, go ahead. You go first.
No. I said she just doesn't make a lot of sense there. I was still trying to figure out when she said that she wished that that she could say she'd been prepared for the verdict, or she'd been confident about the verdict, and she said she wasn't. I guess what she was trying to say there is because she knew how biased the jury was, so she knew that they were going to give it to Johnny Depp, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, all she has left right now is to try and convince the people that didn't sit down and watch all the trial and see all the evidence that this was her being railroaded by the internet, right? Like that's the best she can grasp onto. And I think that was what Elaine, or was Elaine her lawyer?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she did when she was on the Today Show the day after. Of
course.
They took that stance then and there because they had lost. There had been a mountain of evidence, and if you paid attention, you'd see how terrible she was and how they couldn't provide any actual evidence of Johnny Depp doing the horrible things she accused him of initially.
Yep. There's a bit there at the end where you can't look me in the eye and say it was fair. The people supporting Johnny Depp fans aren't saying it was fair. They're saying it was unfair, the way he was treated and the way that that social media treated him and the way that he was treated as a pariah and the way that he lost work and lost jobs off of what some I assure you that before this trial, if you said, hey, who's Amber Heard? People would have said, who? And you say, the girl in Johnny Depp, or the girl in Johnny Depp.
Interesting.
The girl in Aquaman, they would have been like, oh, yeah, the redheaded chick. that's what she would have been known as. But because of this trial, she pushed her name forward, which is all well and good. But there is something called overplaying your hand. And that is what she's done.
Didn't she make the accusations like the day before Aquaman went out, like came out?
I think it was
something?
the week of is when her op-ed came out.
The op-ed.
Yeah.
Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation. Answer, yes.
After the 6-week trial, the
She's
jury
coming
found
out
her
of this as if she's coming out of this court and like coming into the media to talk as if this was a trial for a conviction of her accusations, which it was not. This was a defamation trial. This is a civil case, not a criminal case.
Right.
Famed Depp in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she wrote she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. She never mentioned her ex-husband by name. Depp denied the abuse allegations in court. Heard won just one of 3 claims in her countersuit against her ex-husband. That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife-beater.
There was another trial.
I hate how they act like these two trials are equivalent. There's so many differences. I mean,
One of the big things, I was going to say one of the big differences, aside from the fact that he was suing a newspaper, which is it's a media entity, it's a lot more difficult to prove defamation with that. But also there was a lot of evidence that Depp has had in this second trial that was not available at the time. Like, for instance, I'll just say this one thing. In the UK verdict, one of the when the judge explained his verdict, one of the main things that he said was that the fact that Amber Heard had donated her $7 million from Johnny Depp to charity basically undermined Johnny Depp's entire argument about her motivations. Well, imagine if that judge had had access back then to this evidence, this witness testimony, that she did not end up fulfilling that obligation. So
there was also a huge issue if you read through it, and I assume you have.
Yep.
Because of course you have. You've been following this even closer than I have. And as you read through that, you'll notice the amount of evidence that the judge deemed irrelevant.
Yes.
And some of it is like, maybe in the UK towards the sun, sure, it might be considered irrelevant, but not in this case. In this case, this is now Depp versus Amber specifically. There is no third-party buffer for her, which she was able to take advantage of in the UK.
And there was no trial in the UK, or no jury in the UK trial, correct?
Correct.
It was just a judge's decision?
Yeah.
It was a judge that made the decision, and also it was about, like, Depp's side had to prove that the Sun knew that Amber was lying, and they were, like, lying along with her. But it was easy for them to make the argument that they were just believing what she was telling them.
Yeah.
Her claims had to be basically quote unquote believable.
Right.
And her claims were not nearly as extreme because they've escalated since. So like her accusations in the UK trial have, because that was 2020.
2018 was the trial, right?
2018.
Or was it?
Her accusations of what he's done has escalated even like throughout this trial. So there's been the scaling, as well as I really get annoyed at, just a side note, NBC here is leaving out a key piece of information when they say that, well, Johnny Depp wasn't even named in the op-ed. He doesn't need to be named in the op-ed in Fairfax. And the reason is because in Fairfax, there's a nice little bit of litigation that says, hey, by implication, which means you can commit defamation by implication. You can imply who it is, and as long as the implicature is proven and enough people are like, yeah, that's definitely that person, you don't need to say the name directly.
Yeah.
Is that how you even more
They
evidence?
always leave that out. Piss me off.
Like, if I was like, the guy in the room with me right now steals stuff from the QFC grocery store and he's a criminal, but I don't actually name him.
I'm in the room with you right now. And I steal stuff from the grocery store. I feel like you're implying it's me.
And in fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out.
No.
Such as?
Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of
I love how he puts her in a position to bash her own lawyers. Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time she threw her lawyers under the bus. She did that on the stand.
It's not my job. She did that. It's not my job to make sure that's evidence.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm really sick of her implication that she has this trove of evidence, that was not allowed into this trial. And in a minute, we'll get to this in a minute, but she's going to try to claim that the audio that we heard in the trial was edited in Johnny Depp's favor. And if we had just listened to the entire 2-hour recording, we would have seen what was really going on, which is complete bullshit. If you've listened to the 2 hours, it's just as incriminating toward her as the edits. But anyway.
And there's also this whole bit where she threw her divorce lawyers under the bus, implying that they were the ones who sent the video to TMZ, completely just destroying attorney-client privileges.
The jury from the real issues.
For some people,
the real issues.
They just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is
She just admits to being a Hollywood brat.
Well, she's like, we both are. She's trying to get the fence riders on her side.
Terrible lawyers didn't let her submit the deep fake she paid for on Fiverr. Terrible.
It's not fair.
Ben, can we get a poll in the chat that's Amber Heard smash or pass?
I'll do it.
Yes.
All right. Here, I'll play a little bit more.
Smash
So
or
much bigger
pass
than
what?
Are you into scat play, Billy?
This is not only about
Yeah?
our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation. And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't.
Now we're gonna get a lesson on free speech from Amber Heard. She's gonna educate all of us on it.
Yeah, go into
She's the free speech
does not protect
baddie.
you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks.
They also brought us anal.
They did? The Greeks did that?
Anal brought to you by the Greeks.
By the Greeks.
Greek yogurt.
Thank you,
Picture
Greeks.
comes up.
My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
Should the poll be smash or pass, or should it be smash or
She's-
glass? Didn't she smash
still
glass against his fingers?
She's still trying to pretend to cry. Look at her face.
It's got to be frustrating for her that she can't do it.
I know, right?
Yeah, isn't there like something she could like rub in her eyes to make her cry? Like have it on her finger so when she goes,
Yeah, I
and
would
then-
recommend. Yes,
like a
and the
jalapeno or
recommendation-
something?
Didn't it
no,
look like
no, the Vicks Vapo Rub? You put a
Some
little bit of
Vapo
that. I
Rub?
use it. So I get allergies in the autumn.
Are you self-reporting?
Yeah, I am self-reporting. I get allergies, and my eyes sometimes get really, really itchy. And to flush them out, instead of using water to flush them out, I'll take a little bit of Vicks Vapo Rub before I go to bed, and I'll just put like a tiny little bit under your eyes. They will water like crazy.
Well, she should be doing that then. Come
Right,
on.
just like a little bit in the fingernail, just right on the very edge, just dab the tiny little bit, and she'd probably get twitchy though.
If I was Amber Heard's lawyer, she would have won, hands down. I would have had her eyes all welled up with Vapo Rub. We would have been doing it perfect.
Wasn't she like doing wasn't there like
yeah,
a video?
instead of that, it would be Vapo Rub on the eye.
Something was going on.
Yeah,
right?
it was
Maybe that's
really weird.
I thought she was just taking a picture for the court of her
Did
like
look like she
crying.
did something though. I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like with so much writing on this trial, I would have found some way to learn how to cry or something. Like it can't be that hard. Like if you're an actress, you practice a lot to just a little something.
I can't believe because didn't her acting coach come on and be like, yeah, no, she's always had trouble crying on command.
Really
There's
funny.
But the other thing is that okay, I don't know if she was doing like a bump or anything from that tissue, because if you do notice, she didn't take that tissue from the stand. That came out of her pocket. But another thing came out of her pocket when they were like coming and going from the trial. She was like pulling something out, and she was gonna take a yeah. And the bailiff walked by and she like shoved it back in like she was hiding it. That was
Look
sus.
fishy. As someone who's done my share of, in certain situations, smuggling some things in, it did look to me like a little covert action going on
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is all speculation, right? We can't prove this. There's tons of stuff we can prove about Amber Heard, but it's fun to speculate, okay?
It was just weird. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
The
fun.
truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
I spoke it to power.
In the closing arguments, the Depp lawyer called your testimony the,
Depp
performance of a
Please refer to her as Hot
and said you
Camille
were
like the
acting.
rest of America does.
What do you say to that?
Says
Oh yeah, so she's like, oh yeah, Camille said you're not that good of an actress, and then this is her reply here.
the lawyer
I got that.
for the
Like,
man who
audition.
convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
The
Wait.
lawyer for yeah, I wanted you guys to hear
Wait,
this.
he
Hold
didn't
on.
have scissors for fingers?
Acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
He never convinced anybody.
Did he not have scissor fingers in all the other movies? Was it just Edward Scissorhands? I never paid that close attention.
There was the porn version of Edward Scissorhands. It was Edward Penis Hands.
Which Johnny Depp wasn't in.
Oh, that wasn't Johnny Depp?
That wasn't Johnny Depp. No, that was an actor. Johnny Depp's a real life Scissorhand.
Phrases. I think I understand what she's trying to say. Maybe? Because it doesn't make sense as a response to this question. Because what she's trying to say is that Johnny Depp is such a good actor that you were able to suspend your disbelief to watch the movie to believe that he was Edward Scissorhands for the sake of the movie, that's how good of an actor he was. But that doesn't make any fucking sense as an answer to this question, which was somebody saying you're not as good as an actor. So she's saying that, like, well, her range of what is good acting is off because Johnny Depp is so good. It's not fair to compare me to him, even though I'm totally a comparable actress, which is why I should make money.
Right.
I feel bad for Amber Heard. She's too beautiful to ever have had to say anything important.
Do anything.
Right?
Yeah.
She's never had to be on the marker. She was always just hot enough to pass by anyways. Like, oh yeah, it's great. You're beautiful.
She was also already too beautiful to get the cheek implants that she has.
She has implants?
She's had a lot of plastic surgery, so
she doesn't look like the same person from the
Depp. She's not even.
2000. Ben, can you pull up a picture of the Depo from 2016 and put it beside this? What we're already looking at?
It's hard not to get work done in Hollywood, though.
If you go back to like Pineapple Express or Zombieland,
she's unrecognizable from Zombieland.
It's very different. I mean, she's still like a cute girl, a pretty girl, but definitely artificial what we're seeing here.
Yeah, it's like why
the whole thing is artificial.
She's like what, mid-30s?
She had a beard before?
Yes, that's her pre-transition.
She's 36, I believe.
Right? Yeah. There's no way she should have this much work done.
Nah, it's Hollywood.
I think her nose is already done at that point.
Hollywood is contagious.
Completely nice. If you go back and you look at like Zoe Kravitz, well, any of them, but just pick a random actress and then go back and look at her, from like 15 years ago, you'll see at least a nose job. Probably.
I couldn't believe that they tried to compare her to like the new MJ. A bad argument.
I'm the performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress. So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The Depp team argued that you were the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it.
And to be fair,
she said she instigated in one of the audio recordings. Johnny Depp's like, because you start physical fights, and she says, yeah, I start physical fights. In the same audio recording, she admits to throwing pots and pans at him, and her whole reason for doing so was to say that doesn't mean you shouldn't come and knock on the door to talk to me.
At the beginning of the Me Too movement, during the Believe All Women period, you didn't have to be a good actor to be heard at that point in time. There was a lot of people that weren't actors and actresses that got listened to too, and we took their word over everything. It was just the way it was at the time. So saying that am I a good actor? Am I not a good actor? You didn't have to be a good actor at that point in time when you came out. Everybody was just hungry for that salacious.
The point. Right? She's totally obfuscating the point. It has nothing to do with whether or not she's a good or a bad actor or not. People are making fun of her acting and calling out her acting because they think she's lying. And she's not doing a good job lying, which as an actor, you ought to be able to do.
I mean, probably, yeah. There's been a lot of actors and actresses that weren't good. They just looked good and stood in the fucking right space, and the director cut it up, and it was good. It was great. That's Hollywood. That's the magic.
I responded to it. When you're living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to, you have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say I started the fight?
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What you hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that.
The negotiation was like, please let me run away and stop hitting me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know what the thought motion in my actual hand was, but I was hitting you. I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you.
You fucking baby. Yeah. It's like when you show evidence of being the person retreating and the other one's the aggressor, it's really hard. You don't have to be a good or bad actress or actor at that point because the facts are on your side.
It must really suck to be somebody, like Billy said, Amber Heard, who was somebody who was good looking enough and passable enough to would have been able to just coast through no problem. But no, we can't have nice things. We haven't been able to have nice things since Harambe died.
R.I.P.
With your abuser.
But I am looking at a transcript that he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean,
this is like Chris Hansen reading the transcripts to the people they catfished on To Catch a Predator.
Yeah. She's got a backpack full of Kool-Aid and
the guy's
condoms.
like, the guy's like, no, I just came over to say hi. That's what I was doing.
This is in black and white. I understand context.
NBC does a good job.
But you're testifying and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't.
Yeah, it's like, it's this, I was being abused, so therefore that's why none of the stuff I did while that was going on makes sense.
Exactly.
If that were the case, why would it not apply the other way?
Exactly. And trauma should not be an excuse for everything. Like, if you're going to make accusations publicly, you should have something behind them.
Yeah, because that's another thing that's a really big difference that I think is important when they're trying to frame Amber Heard as the every victim, right? By framing her as the every victim, they're trying to say that, hey, listen, if you speak out against your abuser, you're going to end up facing a defamation case. And I saw somebody saying that they were telling their clients this, that they could not come forward with their abuse or they would face legal repercussions. And the answer is that a police report is not subject to defamation. That is not how that works.
Yeah, Colonel Kurtz, what were you about to say?
No. I don't even remember now. It was no big deal.
It happens to me all the time. Like,
you're fine.
Take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am a victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
How can that be taken out of context?
It's not. What? Okay, so like if you listen to the whole 2 hours or whatever, what her side claims, there's certain points in that audio where Amber Heard tells Johnny Depp that she doesn't feel safe, and she's obviously meaning emotionally safe within the context of what they're saying. But Amber Heard people have tried to twist it so that they're like, see, she's saying that she doesn't feel safe. He was hurting her. He was abusing her, and so they can pick and choose little things out of context. They're the ones actually who choose things out of context. But there's no way to listen to that audio when he is begging he says, we have to separate if things get violent and you have to stop starting fights and please let me go and all of this. And she's taunting him and laughing and calling him a baby. There's no way to interpret that wrong.
Right.
The best example of, because the thing is you don't, what they're trying to do is they're trying to isolate and take one instance as if it's representative of the whole. But what you ought to be doing is looking at as much information as you can possibly get. So you get this 2-hour clip, you get the video that was sent to TMZ, cut and uncut. You get all these other recordings, right? And what you want to look at is you want to look at the what is overall representative. And what we see is over and over and over again, Johnny Depp trying to remove himself from the situation because he's concerned of escalation, be it physical or otherwise. And then you have him trying to remove himself and her following him. One of the best examples of this is that TMZ article. All you need to do is actually sit down, watch it, and actually analyze what happens. What you see happening is Johnny comes into the kitchen upset about something. She's in there doing whatever she's doing. She had just gotten up, she said. He comes into the kitchen. He's frustrated. He's slamming doors. He's making himself a drink and he's like expressing that he is upset. She then tries to redirect his anger towards her, which is something that a victim, somebody who is worried that they're going to get hit, is not going to do that. You don't try to redirect your abuser's anger to you. And then when it doesn't work, she tries to egg him on to make him angrier. Then when he finds out that she's recording, he picks up the phone, walks away. You hear her following him. He throws it in the garbage can. He tells her to leave him alone. He walks away. You see her pick up the phone and follow him again. That is indicative of abusive behavior, not the other way around.
Yeah, I was really hoping to see some sort of physical evidence of Johnny Depp being abusive during the trial. Was there any that we missed?
No.
There was nothing.
Nope.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He says he never hit you.
He
never. Is that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not.
And what about the history of abuse you had with your previous partners, where you were charged in Seattle SeaTac Airport?
Yeah,
like you have a history of violence.
I thought it was weird. I saw the picture of her and her current girlfriend, and they're walking around together, and her girlfriend's way smaller than her, but her girlfriend was carrying the groceries, both of the grocery bags.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a picture of Eve Barlow doing that too, right?
Yeah, but I think some people are the ones that want to be the carriers, and others are the ones that want to be pampered, right?
It's just never. Oh man. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to split now. I'm hanging out with my mom, and I told her I'd give her an hour and a half. But listen, I would love to have if any of you ever want to come on my show, or let's do this again. This is actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back, and we'd love to do anything in the future.
Yes.
So nice to meet y'all, and I will. I look forward to seeing this. Send me the link or whatever, and I'll promote it online once it's up.
Great.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night.
Okay, cool. All right. Enjoy the rest of it. I'll see y'all later.
Oh, yeah.
Later.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Yeah. I'm glad we got her on. There was just a mix up last week, and we got it all figured out. And
yeah.
She's great. She's very knowledgeable on this whole thing that we spent a lot of time on, so I thought it'd be good to have her on.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll finish up this video really quick, and then we'll go on to other things. Before we do that, though, I do want to mention something. Everyone, check out Colonel Kurtz and Chesh's channels. Those are both linked in the description. And there's another channel. It's the DP Underground channel I linked. Everyone watching should go subscribe to that channel, because it's going to be refashioned into a sort of IRL channel. Thank you.
Haters.
Yeah. I used to just put clips on there. It might still get a clip every now and then, but in the next few months here, especially with our trip to California that's coming up here, we're gonna I'm gonna start doing more IRL streams on there. And I think the first one, just to test everything out, is gonna be tomorrow. I'm gonna find some time to go do a quick IRL and work out all the kinks before we do it out on the field.
I just subscribed right now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the IRL channel down below, and all of the donos that come in while I'm IRL streaming are going to go towards the goal. So there's going to be more content in interest of reaching the goal and maybe exceeding the goal coming up. So, but yeah, we'll get to the end of this video here, and then we'll move on to something else.
Any of his witnesses, any names. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as a person who sat there.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was, because she never took responsibility for anything she did in the marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout my relationship.
I don't know if it's bad Botox or what it is, but her face, she'll smile on one side of her face and frown on the other side simultaneously.
She's got I like to call it the Jean Chrétien because it matches like an old prime minister we used to have back in the day.
Did he have a stroke or something?
I don't remember if it was either a stroke or my brain for some reason thinks that it might have been like might have been a hockey skate.
Oh wow, he got slashed in the face with a hockey skate.
Damn, I hope that didn't happen to Amber Heard.
Remember, so please do not. It's been a really long time, but he always talked out of the side of his mouth, and he was better French.
Amber the Goon Heard. That was her nickname out on the ice.
I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways. There's so much. I have so much regret.
So this is where she kind of pretends to take ownership of it without actually taking ownership of it.
Slay
Which is what she did the whole trial.
Slay.
Yeah, I did bad things, but none of them were actually really that bad. Johnny Depp did all the really bad stuff.
But it was all Johnny Depp's fault.
Right.
Freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I will always continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was. And it was ugly and could be very beautiful.
Okay.
It was very, very toxic. And we were awful to each other.
We were awful
to
each other.
Did you guys watch Dr. Curry's analysis of Amber?
No, what was the...
That was the blonde psychologist, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched some of it.
If you just look up like a maybe 10-15 minute clip of her explaining what Amber Heard's behavior was and what her way of speaking was, her way of communicating, and what it means, she hit the nail on the head so goddamn hard it's somewhere in the center of the earth.
Yeah,
like,
it's
holy shit, even to this now, even off the stand, she's still like, oh, she uses very flowery language and she makes things seem like they're profound, and she goes she doesn't experience things from saying how she felt. The way she describes the way things are from an outside perspective, and that's what you see in the interview.
Yeah, and she actually evaluated Amber Heard, unlike the psychiatrist that Amber Heard had.
Both of them, because they had Dr. Spiegel and then they had Dr. Hughes. And Dr. Hughes was the one who refused to admit that men could be victims. And Dr. Spiegel was the one everybody thought was basically the guy who broke the Goldberg rule, who is basically an unethical... He operated outside of the ethics of his field of study, which was additionally amusing to me because he then wrote an article to bitch about that people were... he analyzed Johnny Depp and used his performances to help diagnose him.
He used his acting performances to diagnose him.
Yes, and then everybody else turned around and did the same thing to him. He got review bombed, and people were judging and talking about his practice based on his performance when they had never spoken to him and were not his clients.
Spiegel means mirror in German. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think the idea that men can't be victims is very commonly accepted. I think a lot of women, they come from a position where women are naturally smaller in stature, which might recommend they're weaker against men. They have more submissive traits on average.
They could be more weak, but they could still be the dominant personality in the relationship.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of people immediately pick up on those traits and trends and just don't see how men can be victims, right? They're like, oh no, I've only ever been abused by men, that women would never, we're always together when we need someone to lean into.
That's making it about themselves instead of taking it on a case-by-case basis and looking at each situation for what it is. They're like, oh, I'm a woman who was abused by a man, therefore when I see a woman claim she was abused by a man, I just believe it.
I'm pretty sure the majority of people aren't capable of thinking outside of themselves.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. So there's more than one way to be a victim or to attack somebody.
Yeah. And
so to say that you like, oh, well, you can only be a victim if you got hit in the face. Well, I mean, a woman can hit a man in the face. There's literally nothing stopping you. If you've got a partner right now and you turn to your right or your left, wherever they are, and you swing your hand, you're going to hit them in the face.
Don't you fucking dare.
We need to stop bestowing the title of victim onto anyone who just says that they are, because they get all these benefits and protection when in reality they could be the abuser and the person they're accusing could be the victim.
Well, and not every victim needs to come forward. Like, you don't have to, like, the goal of a victim ought to be safe and get out of the situation that you're in. Getting vengeance and getting retribution on the internet ought to be the last thing on your mind.
It should never be about that. Now, you should come forward if you have evidence and you think the person is dangerous.
Well, go to the
have
police,
them put away.
though,
Go to the police. Have them, do it the right way. Go to the police, have the police charge them, and then have them defend themselves in criminal court. Don't make them come up with the money to sue you to prove their innocence. You know?
Yeah, I've had stuff happen to me, but I didn't go to the police. I didn't file anything. I got myself safe. I got myself removed from the situation, and that was the end of it. So there was no reason to go any further than that, because it was never about them. It's about me and making sure that I'm okay. I'm in a position where I'm fine, and yada, 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 yada. I take care of myself. Right?
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
Kurt's lawyers say they plan to appeal that verdict. And as for the notion...
I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've always told the truth.
There's so many verifiable lies. I don't know how she can... She shouldn't have done this interview, I don't think. I think she could have saved face just by keeping quiet about it and hoping it eventually... by doubling down and doubling down and doubling down, she's bringing more attention to it and people can look it up and see it. I don't think
people are going to look it up, though. I think they're going to...
Enough people will.
I think that they're addressing all the questions, and she's ignoring them enough and then pushing the narrative that it was never going to be fair because of the internet. And the people that only go through mainstream media and don't go through the internet are going to start looking at those TikToks of her being called Amber Turd, and they're going to have sympathy or empathy for her. They're going to feel bad for her.
You've got a really good point in that there's still like a solid separation between mainstream media and social media, even though mainstream media is still on YouTube, it's still on Twitter. They're still dominant, period. So as much as there might be like Twitter people that are pro Johnny Depp and a handful of YouTube channels that are pro Johnny Depp, that's still a handful comparatively to what they're dealing with. Now, I do think that Ben also has a point in saying that, like, she's Barbra Streisanding herself. Yeah, the more that she talks about this, the more that other people are going to. This is not a good PR.
Yeah. When they go, oh, is online. All the stuff that made no one believe you online. Everything's online. It's all online. There's going to be enough people that are like, oh, well, maybe I should look at that.
We're living in a time period where grandma knows how to Google. Right.
But I don't expect people to do the real research if they haven't by now.
No.
I feel like
the question is, has YouTube and Twitter done a good enough job to elicit at least a question mark? Are they noticed enough? Have they done enough that people who do a quick Google search to say Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, what pops up?
Women because it means they can never be men's equals in
Yes.
power dynamics.
Very
It
much
also
so.
generalizes women as weak, which
Well,
could be interpreted as misogynistic.
You know, nowadays a lot of people don't want equality. They want overcorrection.
They want to dominate.
They want overcorrection. They're like, oh, you know, this group of people had it over this other group of people for so long. Now we want it shifted the opposite way. We don't want it evened out. We want it the other way. And we see that a lot in our society. Me Too was an overcorrection of men getting away with abusing women.
It's the pendulum, right? Men were getting away with doing it. The reason why I believe victims or believe women came about was because when they went to the police, there was no due process.
Right.
Zero.
And that was awful. But that doesn't mean
Right.
that we switch it totally the other
the
way.
crazy thing, the crazy thing about the pendulum, the crazy thing about the pendulum is as it swings one way or the other, there's this point up at the top of the pendulum that never moves, and that's where people operate from when they continue to create generational wealth, continue to create political power and sway. They don't fucking swing through this shit. They're up here watching everybody down here struggle, fight the waves back and forth, and they just go.
That's why Elon Musk's talking about buying Twitter instead of this case that he's
buying Mega
actually
Pints
involved
instead.
in.
Yeah, he's actually interested in the mason jar wine glass market now.
Right, he's doing a huge dodge. Right, he's doing a huge like, don't look at this over here. I'm making this big move. Right, that's a better PR move than what Amber's doing. To be fair.
Yeah, I we'll see if she does more interviews.
Juggalo V says police don't do shit, especially if it involves one of their own. I think the police department is the highest domestic abuse rate among employment, among jobs.
I don't know about that. It might be.
It's probably pretty close to football.
I will say
it's the top.
I will say that what happened to the George, like not the cop that actually killed George Floyd, but the other ones that were there. Them being held accountable is a step in the right direction for like cops who see corruption within their ranks and they're like, whoa, if this gets out, I'm going to get in trouble for this too. I hope more of that happens instead of them just kind of protecting each other when they see like something really messed up happening. They should be able to be like, no, how about you get your hands off that guy and I'll watch him. You know, if just one of them would have done that, none of that shit would have happened. Just one of them would have been like, let me hold him and you go cool off over there. You know?
Yeah.
So maybe more accountability on that level. Because, yeah, like cops got away with criminal offenses all the time just because they were cops. So,
yeah, it's not unique to domestic abuse.
Yeah. I remember when I lived in Ohio, there was like a local judge who just like got pulled over and she was drunk and she just like drove off. And at first, nothing happened until it like hit the media, the local media enough. We're like, hey, this judge got pulled over for driving drunk and she just drove away because she was a fucking judge, you know?
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Perks of the job, am I right?
Here's the, I didn't get to play this when Colonel Kurtz was on. Here's,
we're not quite there yet. This is real? This. When I touched that.
So they're talking about how AI someday, like virtual world, will be more real than the real
Is
world.
that synchronicity? Is that what it's called?
I think so. So they're just like talking about this, and this is back in 2018. But it's funny because he's like, well, I guess that's why some people just like rustic stuff.
But
very real.
Maybe that's why everybody's like into like mason jars and shit.
Mahogany.
Mason jars.
Suede shoes. People are into like craft.
And then for no reason, just because he mentioned mason jars, Elon, it sounds like he's talking specific here. I don't know, because this is shortly after he broke up with Amber Heard, after Elon broke up with Amber Heard. And there was a couple... I mean, this was years after the Slamming Cabinets video was leaked.
Restaurants, and they want raw wood. Everyone wants to see metal. It seems like people are like longing towards some weird log cabin type nostalgia.
Sure, reality.
Yeah, like holding on, like clank.
And then here he goes.
Just
Well, look at his
dragging
side
their nails through the mud. Like, don't take me yet.
Yes.
I want to.
But then people will go get a mason jar with a wine stem or a handle.
Face he makes.
And he's like,
yeah, it looks like she got those in the breakup.
Yeah.
That's dark. Makes me lose faith in humanity.
Wine stem and a handle. Do they have those?
Yes.
Oh, those dirty people.
Oh,
that's just
terrible.
assholes. That's
Wow.
like people make pet rocks.
It's the mega pint. Chill,
Right,
Rogan.
Some people are just assholes. They take advantage of our
Yeah, then they pull up a
generous
picture
nature.
of it.
It was made with a wine stem, made with a handle.
He's like, I could understand if it was like glued on, but they actually made it with the handle.
They made it that way.
Yes.
So it wasn't like they
manufactured
welded
like
it
that.
onto the mason. You
No, that would
fucks.
be fine if there was
Oh, that
they
would be
glued it
fine.
on or something. But
Right,
it was
that would be
made,
like-
it was made that way.
Why would it be better if it was glued on?
He sounds like he's taking like a low altitude shot at something like, like he's trying to fly under the radar and take a shot at someone.
Like trash chic. Oh, this is disgusting. Look at this.
Somewhat.
There it is
Pretty
right
harsh.
there.
Yep.
This is terrible.
Yep. Look at that. Gotta be white trash. You got one of those.
To be fair, that is not what Johnny Depp has. Johnny Depp's is about double the length in the hand in the bottom stem. It's about double that.
A super goblet?
Yeah, super. That's a mega pint.
A
mega
super
pint.
duper mega pint.
I just want everybody at home to enjoy themselves and get liquored up. I don't care what you drink out of.
I wish. All right. Now we're dipping our mitts down into the mud. This is T-Bob talking about school. Something about school here.
Good.
So
Because T-Bob went to school, right?
he'd tell you he went to like Princeton, Harvard, and Yale all at the... I haven't heard him say that, but that's the kind of lie Trumpster Bob will come
I was
up
in
with.
the Skull and Bones.
Is he
I got
still in
boned.
the hospital or is he back home?
No, he's back out.
I transferred out of Yale because the Skull and Bones tried to do some gay stuff to my butthole. So then I went to MIT, but robots is gay. So then I went to Princeton.
I couldn't handle Princeton because they hazed me too hard.
He'd be the King Hazer, though.
When you buy something else,
You have to get past the hazing to do that.
fuck what anybody thinks. I think some of these school mass shootings and murders that are happening, I bet you some of them are a good thing.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh, I don't. Okay,
Yeah.
listen. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not that. Okay, I was ready for this. I was ready for saying that they didn't happen, saying that some of them were fake, saying like, because I was already like, oh, he's acknowledging that this is a thing that happened. No, I get hit with this goddamn curveball.
Leave it to
of,
Bob.
Like, oh, it's good that kids are getting murdered. Yeah, it's great.
Builds character.
It's like, bullying builds character. You just got to take it up a few levels,
Not a bad thing. There are so many goddamn communist motherfuckers here from other countries, and their kids are going to our schools, being brought up as Americans.
How many communists does Trumpster Bob think exist?
How communist is Mexico?
Is he just assuming that God's grace makes the shooter only hit the communist children too? Is that why this is okay to him? Or is he like, whatever, if 1 or 2 commie kids get murdered and 14 regular good American children get murdered, it's okay, those commie kids needed to go? Is that really where he's coming from here?
God knows that you're communist in your heart.
He could claim that, like, there's a lot of communists because, like, the population of China, but most of those people, they didn't choose to live. They're not like, yeah, I chose to live here under communism. They just, like, don't have a choice.
Born there. There's been
If some-
protests
It's
in
been so
China
long
over
since
that.
I
It's
clipped
not
a
like
video.
they haven't been fighting
It's been
against it.
so long. Thank you, Bob. The clips are back, bitches.
The clips are back. Do people ever get to actually choose communism? Isn't it always
the
like a
people
dream?
in charge do.
Well, yeah, but like it's always like the people who want
there
communism
was
fight for it, and the people who live in it are just stuck with
Well,
it.
I mean, there was a Bolshevik revolution in Russia because enough people decided they wanted to live under communism rather than an imperialistic Russia. Same thing happened in China.
Yes and no. It's one of those things where politics is depending on where you're living is going to be dependent on what are you voting against.
Well, there was no voting.
Right. So, well, that's what I mean. If there was no voting and you just want the opportunity or the option to vote, and the only person that's providing you that potential option is somebody who's communist, or like if you're going from a revolution from imperialism to communism, that's not as big of a jump.
There was a
right,
few
from, say, capitalism
instances. There was a few instances where people looked at communism and what they already had, and they chose communism. Like in Cuba, they had a U.S. puppet government there, and they chose communism instead.
What I'm getting at is that it's relative.
Now,
right?
I see Amanda Kiefer say China is super capitalist, just more authoritarian. Their government plays the capitalist game, but the citizens, the citizens of the People's Republic of China just are cogs in their machine. They live under communism. Like if you own a business, it's part of the government. Like you're in charge of it, but the government decides what it does. And there, it's a single party totalitarian.
And if you want to do capitalism with China, you tend to become one of the cogs as well. Do. I gotta go pee.
Yeah. It's true.
It's basically you have to understand the difference between Hong Kong, which is centralized and allowed to do outside business, and the rest of China.
Well, yeah, like the Chinese government, like of the People's Republic of China, the communist part of China, their government participates in capitalism outside of their country.
Yes.
But within their own country, there's one single party of their government, and their government oversees all
and that's
internal
why Hong Kong
commerce.
Is the way it is, but it's bizarre to me to have somebody say that.
Oh, man.
All these foreigners are coming here, and if you're going to talk about China, the Chinese people have been like there's been so much protest and so much like holding the government hostage in various situations, and the people being held hostage by their government over the past I don't know 5 years.
When I was a kid, Hong Kong was still part of the UK, and I think it was like 97 or something is when it was given back to China.
Yep.
And I thought that was crazy because I kind of even back then suspected that Hong Kong was going to start losing its sovereignty, and that's kind of what was going on. They were trying to pass this law where if someone was wanted for crimes and they lived in Hong Kong, they could be extradited into mainland China. That's what all those protests were in Hong Kong before COVID broke out and everything kind of fell apart. That's what it was about, because they were just trying to chip away at Hong Kong's sovereignty.
Right, and protesting their own government. I mean, you see the same thing in Egypt, right? Well, the same kind of protest at the very least, not for the same thing necessarily.
There's another. You ever heard of Macau before?
No.
That's kind of like Hong Kong, where except for it's Portuguese. It used to be a Portuguese territory within China. Like it's an island, and it's basically like the Las Vegas of China. Like gambling's illegal in most of China, but in Macau it's like all casinos, and it's like there's like resorts and all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't find anywhere else in China. And they're kind of like Hong Kong, where they have like their own sovereignty.
Right.
But I think
they have their own rules.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Like if you live in you said Macau?
Yeah, Macau.
So if you live there or you live in Hong Kong, like if you go to visit China and you go to Hong Kong exclusively, you're not seeing the majority of China.
It's Macau.
Especially not like what China's actually like.
Its official name is Macau Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China.
China's got some history.
Yeah. It's weird that, the pre-communist government of China is now the government of Taiwan. when they were pushed out by the new government, the communist government of China, they ran to Taiwan, and that's how Taiwan became its own place. But that's the original capitalist government. Yeah.
It's a yikes if you're going to talk about like whether like China either occupying or invading or looking at skeptically the surrounding areas and kind of how that's gone historically.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Teenager recognizes that this gang of 12 motherfuckers over there are communist little punk ass bitches and they need to be dead.
We're at a point where words don't have meaning anymore. You just take something that's accepted as a bad thing and then you call other people it. Like I hear communist. I hear the P word just thrown around willy-nilly like it doesn't have
wet
meaning
ass
anymore.
P word.
Well, I meant the I don't mean the woman's body part. I mean the P word that I don't want to say.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me get this straight. T-Bob is currently saying that shootings in elementary school are good because American teenagers are recognizing that these elementary school kids are communists.
Yes. That's what makes it okay, according to Trumpster Bob, which he's insane.
Fuck out of this country. I think that's the biggest problem why my high school people in general are showing up at these schools and committing these mass shootings. It's got nothing to do with them being bullied or any of that bullshit. Of course they're going to be bullied by a gang like that, but that gang goes around bullying everybody. But you don't see everybody out there shooting up the fucking school, do you? And have you ever asked yourself why these kids walk through the fucking hallway and go to a particular classroom before they start shooting the gun off?
What? Well, they got to pick one classroom to start in, right? They can't do all of them at the same time.
I bet you it's because of that right there.
What?
And so, while I think it's...
Hold on.
That one class has a communist teacher, and they're teaching all the little commies that are not American, because true American students would not be communist, and therefore they are immune to bullets.
I've never bothered to look into the psychology of the shootings, like how it worked. Like, does somebody walk into the school? Do they just have a gun? Do they just start firing the second somebody sees them? Do they I wonder what the real story is there.
I mean, I'm sure it's different every time. Some people just go in looking.
Analyze that.
Some people just go in looking to take out as many people as possible, and then some people have specific targets, like those preppy kids that thought they were so cool, like something like that.
Yeah.
But there's also like this whole thing of like, how are you ever going to possibly analyze that? Because you have to rely on mainstream media, who we know we can't trust and who are currently blaming video games to this. It is 2022, and we are still blaming video games for shitty
They
parenting.
blamed Marilyn Manson and KMFDM for Columbine back in the day.
Right. Oh, and Eminem.
You know,
And so
Japan?
got, like, this... Yeah.
Japan plays more video games than we do as Americans. They have more violent video games there than we do here. They get pretty graphic.
You know who has comparative amounts of video games to schools and has the same kind of close to structure as America does?
Who?
But like politically and like the whole spectrum there?
Who?
Canada.
Oh, man. Why don't you go celebrate your Queen's Diamond Jubilee while you're at it?
Well, at least I don't have to worry about my kids getting fucking murder spagurtered. Like, what?
Hey.
Wow, Chesh.
You know what? We fought a revolution so that we had the right for our kids to be murdered, okay?
I don't...
Oh, is that what that was for?
Yeah.
I don't like the way you brag, all right?
At least we don't have the Queen on our money.
Sure, America... Sure, America has a whole bunch of school shootings, but I'm sure you and your Canadian friends all had a bunch of school cutings.
At least we have more polar bear attacks, I guess. I don't know.
Nom nom.
Kids are being shot. These guys ain't kids, let's face it. If you're 16 years old and older, you are not a fucking child.
What?
Is he trying to justify so he can have sex with somebody who's 16?
I don't think so. I think it's a different angle, but who knows? He could be doubling it up for all I know.
I don't know.
I mean, like, it depends. Like, when you're 16 years old, there are more responsibilities you can be given than a child much younger. Like, you can work longer hours. Like, usually child labor laws are more lax for someone that's like 15 and up.
I live in a
16
whole different spectrum.
And 16 most is legal driving, which is a huge responsibility. Like,
I think 16-year-olds should be allowed to vote, and I think the political system should be introduced at a younger age, and we should just have higher expectations of our teenagers. That's all.
When I went to Germany and some of the other German-speaking countries in Europe, there were 16-year-olds drinking at the bar, and nothing crazy was going on. Everyone was just chilling. You know,
exactly. It's the expectation. The problem we've got a huge problem in like Canada, America. This is like both. This is a both of us problem, where we treat people who are in their 30s as if they if they go to start a new job, they're treated as if they're 16 and it's their first fucking job.
Yeah.
So the millennials are just still, to this day, treated as if they're teenagers when they are not teenagers. So what do you think's happening to the teenagers?
They're not able to find jobs because older people are filling a lot of those positions.
Well, they're not able to do anything, but you still get taxed on your paycheck if you're working at 16. You don't get to vote. You don't have any say in anything that's going on.
But if you're
not talking about the Constitution.
And you're part of a fucking little communist bunch of bitches, and some guy walks in there and kills all them motherfucking students, I want to throw the goddamn dude a fucking party.
Oh my God. Just when you think Trumpster Bob can't get more disgusting, like, he just goes further and further. And I don't think he's trolling. I think he legitimately means this. And he's not trashed here. I can tell he's sober.
He looks like he's still in a fucking medical bed.
Yeah, is he hopped up on doofballs from his stay in the hospital?
Yeah.
Somebody's been giving him T4s.
Jail cell is he in? I'll send him a fucking cake right now.
Would you eat a Trumpster Bob school shooting cake?
In the War of 1812.
No.
Your guys may have burned down the White House, but your
That
guys
didn't
got
happen.
destroyed by a freaking tornado right after. Clearly the gods favored the U.S.
Ayo.
Canada did not exist in 1812.
God's a king.
Side note, are we gonna do we believe that this man knows how to bake a cake?
For real. Huh. He's gonna go down to the local grocery store and get a bunch of Hostess pies and pack them together in a fucking tin foil pouch, ship it over.
He's gonna go to Dairy Queen and not even. He's gonna go to Dairy Queen and not even get the ice cream cake. He's gonna try to go to Dairy Queen and get a regular cake.
He's going to go to the bathroom at Dairy Queen and send a urinal cake.
If I knew that was the case, I would absolutely do that. I buy my fucking lunch every goddamn day that I could buy my fucking lunch.
You wouldn't. Even if they were like, yeah, okay, Bob, go ahead.
If the shooters were just going to get communists.
Yeah.
He would, if he knew that was the case.
Oh, he already assumes that's the case.
But if he knew for sure, then he would 100% buy lunch for this person every day.
I mean,
those damn 6-year-old communists.
Right.
The way America is these days, it's a coin flip. Did some dude just freak out because he's being harassed and kill poor little innocent children?
They are literally poor little innocent children, though.
Or was he being bullied by a bunch of punk-ass bitch Democrat motherfuckers?
They're elementary
Right.
school kids, you fucking asshole.
Look, this guy wanted to own guns, but he got bullied by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, so he had to go murder some communist children. Order 66, nobody cares. Padawan's dead.
Am I wrong in thinking that the majority of even high school students do not belong to a specific specific party, or is that like really a thing in America? Because in Canada, because there's more than two, when you're in high school, you haven't decided yet.
I mean, we would have like mock elections and stuff, and usually there'd only be two parties. I remember when I was in the 6th grade, that was the last time we had 3 viable candidates when they had Ross Perot actually in the debates and everything. But yeah, I mean, it is split like 50-50. We have this weird thing where our government's only really set to accommodate two parties.
Strong?
Well, like
Is it that
like
strong
Bernie Sanders.
In, like, high school?
It depends on how interested in politics you
live?
are.
Maybe.
Well, Nickelodeon does the kids vote.
Do they still do that?
They did.
They did it when I was a
recently,
kid.
I'm pretty sure, and they always tend to trend towards Democrat, probably because they're communist little 6-year-olds talking too much shit.
Well, I mean, also when we look at the raw numbers, if we look at like a straight up or down vote, the majority of voters are Democrat. Like if you just look at the raw numbers.
But if you look at policies, a lot of people, like a lot of even Republicans, if you look at individual policy, they're going to vote for the more progressive policy most of the time.
The thing is, we don't vote for policy, we vote for people, and they just say what their policy is going to be. There's literally no punishment for lying about what you say you're going to do when you run for office. You could literally do the exact opposite of what you said. The only punishment would be the only punishment is that you wouldn't get reelected.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Well, once you're elected, the incumbent has a favor no matter what, right? Like most incumbents get reelected.
Yeah, absolutely. They would have to like really mess up.
Hank Hill in the chat said the shooter was 18 and the kids were 6. Does T-Bob think the suspect was Billy Madison?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be,
You know, the communists, and showed up and killed every one of them. Well, if that's what happened.
So now I'm picturing that scene from Billy Madison where he does his like book report, and that guy's like, everyone here is this much dumber for having heard it. I want to play that after Trumpster Bob's little speech here.
My favorite bit about that is the kindergarten teacher who told him that story in kindergarten is sitting in the audience along as he's talking, just like, yes.
And I got no fucking problem with that. None. I don't care if the kids are 8 years old. If you already know they're going to be like that, kill a little fucking Hitler now.
You're crazy. You're awful. You are awful.
Can we just point out that there's one side of I don't care if the kids are 8 years old, the Trumpster Bob side, and the other part is the Jared Genesis. I don't care if the kids are 8 year old.
They're both
side,
bad.
and they're both fucking horrible.
Yeah, they're both bad.
Can I go get a drink?
Do you care if the kids are 8 years old?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, then you're allowed to drink. You're allowed to go reward yourself with a libation.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go get my travesty that I made earlier. I'll make another one.
Chesh's drink of choice is called a Canadian dry diarrhea.
Fucking Hitler now.
Is that like a Caesar?
It's a cesarean.
I don't got a fucking problem with that shit.
We're getting invaded by Canadians coming up here, by the way, from what I see. So so for the next episode on Thursday, we've got Adam in studio. And then I guess Scott is wrestling in Everett on Friday.
Really?
Yeah. Or is it Friday or is it? Yeah, I think it is Friday.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, the pretty
June
pretty
18th.
ones.
Is that Saturday? Yeah, that's Saturday. Damn it, I don't know because we got the show.
No.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Dry diarrhea. What magic is this? Think about it.
And then I do. I mean, because I don't know. It's a coin flip. So everybody out there that tries to play like they're goody two-shoe motherfuckers, and they're upset, and they're just so saddened because some bunch of kids got shot up.
Yeah. That's not goody two-shoes. Like, even some of the worst criminals on earth, like, look down upon criminals who abuse children and murder children and do worse.
Yeah, there is a caste system in prisons.
Right. So there's even honor among some of the worst criminals when it comes to crimes against children. So I don't think that's goody two-shoes.
Fucking high school. You know, what are y'all fucking stupid or what? Motherfucker ain't gonna do that for absolutely no goddamn fucking reason.
No, actually they do it for no reason. That's the problem. Like, there's literally, like, they do it because they're driven by mental illness.
Trumpster Bob says, are we stupid? Someone's not going to shoot up an elementary school for no reason. You imbeciles, obviously he has a political agenda to take down communism. Are you guys stupid? Obviously, in the side of a school shooter and 6, 7, 8-year-old children, I'm going to side with the school shooter because obviously he must have a patriotic agenda.
When is Bob's trial, like, pre-hearing? Has that happened? Was that like the 13th or something?
I'm not
No, obviously he's from the future and knows that they're going to become Hitler. Obviously, that's. Did we figure out if T-Bob is just sexually repressed and needs like access to Billy's butthole?
We can't have access to mine.
But do you think that would help him?
No, I think it would help if you went family style with your asshole for Bob, not me.
You really? Are you sure?
Yeah, spread him open. I don't know. I don't want to put my asshole on the line. You can't just volunteer me for butt work.
You basically got to be Buca de Beppo.
I love
you know
Buca de Beppo.
It's family style Italian Buca de Beppo.
Ben, this is just another poll, guys. Whose butthole do you think is going to be more like distracting enough to help T-Bob?
What, between yours and Billy's?
Yeah, you can throw yours in the ring if you want.
No, in the ring.
This is the worst butthole challenge of all time.
Did I make it? Did I do it? Am I a peasant yet?
You're pretty drunk.
Big fan.
I'm only on my third one. What do you mean?
Welcome to the show. Tell everybody what's in your drink right now. You said this was called the Canadian Dry Diarrhea?
I mean, it should be called that. Okay, so this is Kraken dark rum and orange juice with a lime. I put ice in this one because I like my drinks very, very cold. But that's just
see, I
have two modes. I either want my drink extremely cold or I want my tea to burn the inside of my mouth.
Yeah. Really cold stuff. It like makes my teeth hurt sometimes. So I don't
like it with ice cream, but like with a drink because it's not really messing with my gums too much. I'm fine.
Like frozen margaritas, I just cannot. Like, I'm not a fan of the. Like, a margarita should be on the rocks with salt.
Yes. The only other way is with I made these. I did them in a margarita glass. I don't know if they count as margaritas, but what I did is I had cranberry juice and white rum, and then had lime, but I edged the glass with the lime.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty good. And I think you could do salt or sugar, just kind of depending on what you wanted, and like 1 or 2 ice cubes.
When I lived in New Mexico, they used to call blended margaritas gringo margaritas. Because that's what the gringos would drink. Bob's still going. He's just doing his part. He's letting the hamster catch up on the wheel. Oh, is it done now? Yeah, it's done now. Oh, shit. I guess Shani, people think she's keeping the money and not bailing Rev out.
Yeah. She got the money from his uncle.
Yeah, that dumb piece of shit can rot in jail for all I care. Fuck yeah.
All right, I'm going to let some people come in here.
Whoa, in where? Or does she mean her video?
In her live, yeah.
Okay.
Not in her.
I thought it was an advertisement.
Not in her coarse throat.
Oh.
I have some things to say. Holy shit, do I have some things to say.
What are you going to say, Shan? Did G-Man come down? Did G-Man come slide in?
Oh!
Chesh, where's your mic?
Let me tell you something.
Am I muted?
Yeah,
you
you're
were.
good now.
Yeah.
I was saying this is a very interesting look for a very wholesome Christian lady, and I was asking if did we figure out if Rev actually did anything, or are we on the side of that maybe she's pulling an Amber Heard?
In this video, well, Rev was charged. We don't know exactly the depth of it, but in this video, she does say he shouldn't have put his hands on the kid.
Okay, so there's more evidence to this than Amber Heard's accusations because there's actually a police report.
Yeah, he's in jail.
The police report
Okay.
doesn't mention kids, but it could just be like a local thing.
Have we seen the report or just the charge?
Yeah, the charge. It is weird how her tune has changed because
Yeah,
last
before
time
she
it
was like,
she was like, oh, well, and then again after that, a few days later, she's like, oh, guys, I'm so happy. CPS came and they're gonna help us out and everything. And she had this stack of money, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna use this to bail out Rev. And now she's like, yeah, who hit the fucking jackpot, bitches?
Whew, the legal system is fucking rigged, dude.
true, yes, it is rigged
All
against
right,
men in this case.
So get this. Get this.
Is she
Just-
modeled her life after fucking Ursula from fucking Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Let people
She's
know
Ursula.
I'm on, because they are going to want to hear this shit. Woo! Let me tell you something.
She's got all kinds of testicles, just like Ursula.
Tentacles, you mean?
No.
Are you sure? Like, is it G-Man that braided her hair then?
Holy shit!
Don't get trapped in my testicles, ha!
Heads, let me tell you something. Holy crap. I need more people. Like, at least 15 people. You need to get some people on here. Be like, dudes.
That's a way to get more people to stay and watch. Say you're not going to do anything until more people come and watch.
And he's got some shit to fucking say.
Yeah, Shan, fuck your life. We're all going to rewatch this on somebody else's platform anyways.
Like, I have some shit to say. This is fucking nuts shit, dude. Like, come on, 15 people. Come on, raise it up a little bit more. I
was expecting like at least 50, but she's sitting here like 15,
Does
and
she
now I'm just
expect?
sad.
Does she expect the people that are already there watching to clone themselves or something?
Well, tell a friend, you know?
I mean, I understand like the waiting for notifications to go out, but like this is not the way to do
Like there's 3 people watching right now. Those 3 people go tell 3 people, hey, Freedom Fighter Shenny for Christ is live. Come on the side of freedom. Tell a friend. They tell a friend. They tell a friend. Before long, you have 18 people in here.
Saying anything
Women,
until I get...
a real woman against domestic abuse says she can speak for all women about that, so she can take Amber Heard's place in the ACLU.
15 people.
Well, you know how like in Dearborn, because they have a high Islamic population, they'll do the like public call to prayer. There's a few towns where when Shani starts a video, they do like a public call.
The clouds part.
Yep.
Those aren't clouds.
Then she shoots Bambi's mom, and it's all over.
Those aren't clouds. Those are her milky blue cheese thighs.
Her chesticles.
It has began. Soon the US and Canada will united. The US gets free healthcare and Canada gets the massive industrial power. Soon the North America Union will be born. P.S. Louisiana was founded by French Canadians following the 7 Years' War.
Yeah, they're Acadians. Yeah.
I'm also kind of surprised that America hasn't just tried to shuffle Detroit onto us yet.
No.
It's hella good. This is some hella good information.
Hella
You're gonna be
good.
like shocked when you hear this shit.
We're going to be shocked.
Like, you're gonna be like really fucking shocked when you hear this.
Did she leave her vibrator on?
Dark Guyver, I'm live.
That's the life alert.
Just watch me.
Rev's not in
Alright.
jail. He's stuck somewhere down there between her
I'm
knees.
falling and I can't get up, Shaddy. Yeah, come on, help me.
So,
You didn't use your Vagisil today. I can't just slip out.
Right.
holy crap.
I like how she's trying to keep up the excitement, but she
Well-
doesn't want to say it yet because there's not 15 people watching.
Let's just say my life is really gonna fundamentally change.
Fundamentally.
Like really fundamentally change my life is
Why is that, Shan?
how do I say this, bros? Alright.
Spill.
Holy shit. Okay.
Get on with it.
I am not gonna bail Jason out. At all.
Why?
Nope.
Why?
Not gonna do it. G-Man doesn't want to risk it. His uncle doesn't want to risk it. I certainly don't want to risk it. So apparently, did you know if you bail someone out of jail, you could possibly be criminally liable if something happens to the bail, or if
they run, you are signing down to say that you're co-signing for the accrued debt because the bail bonds has to put up the $5,000 and you give them $500 to do so. And if you
That
go,
is literally what bail is.
yeah, it's a fucked up scammy system.
Yeah,
of
it
course,
shouldn't exist, but that's the way it is.
but it's the way it is.
It's America. The rich people don't have to stay in jail. If you
There's
have
a
enough-
reason we're the #1 incarcerated country. It's not because we have more criminals.
if something goes on with him being released, if he doesn't go to court or anything like that. Did you know that? Not only that, they could put a lien on your house, your car.
Why is this the thing you care about if he assaulted your kids?
Because she's trying to let everybody know that the $500 she got from his uncle is going to go to fucking Hot Wings and Fago.
Grubhub.
All this fucking shit. And I'm being told this shit. And I'm like, no. In this case,
then don't take the money. Give the money to the uncle and let the uncle keep his money and let him bail his nephew out if that's what he wants to do.
You know
Why the
that's
fuck
not
is he
going to...
giving
Well, she said the uncle doesn't want to be on the line for it either. So...
Okay, then nobody gets the money. The
Yeah.
uncle keeps his money.
Well, she'll keep the money because it's in her hands and she's already spent it.
What dumbass was like, here, bail out my nephew. I don't want to deal with it, but here's $500. And she says no, and he's not like, okay, well, give me my... Why would you give the money to her before you guarantee that the... I don't...
It was
okay,
Uncle
everybody's
Moneybags.
dumb.
He don't know no better. He just
Oh.
throws money at these kids.
Well, he can throw money at me instead. I'll be more responsible.
Do you want to be his little niece?
Tell you what, I'll bail out Rev if you give me the money to do it,
No,
and
you
then
won't.
give me the money to support Rev. He can come live with me.
No, that's not true. You're robbing his uncle.
in this particular case, I love the man.
Prove it.
I love him
sue you for
fucking dearly.
defamation.
But he
No
shouldn't
way.
have put his fucking hands on Zachary.
Damn.
I kind of called this where the one where she seemed like really happy to like not have him around.
He should have listened to me and like chilled the fuck out.
How old is Zachary?
I don't know. I know like at least one of their kids is special needs. I don't know if Zachary's the one. I don't know. I try to not know too much about their kids.
Fair,
but they're always like using them for content, so it's hard to be
It's really hard to judge the situation when they're like the context is just like if Zachary is like 16 to 18 and he took a swing at somebody, be it Shani or Rev, and Rev like grabbed his hand and put him in an armbar or something, is Rev in the wrong?
I mean, that's a whole lot of story that has to be told for us to make that choice.
Yeah,
Right
that's
now-
what I mean.
right
But
now-
we need the information.
Right now, we know this. Rev and Shani have been in the wrong for years, long before any of this shit.
Yeah, and we know that Shani has been arrested. There's body cam footage of her being arrested for beating him up.
Yeah,
in the past.
Like, I don't really care to get to the bottom of this. I feel like the court system will do it. I just want to hear her talk about how she's
I've taken it too seriously.
yeah, Chesh. Here's the thing, Chesh. You're a fucking investigator. We're instigators. That's the difference.
Oh god. All right, sorry. I'll switch my. I'll flip my switch. I got you.
Yeah.
Billy has flipped my switch. It's okay.
You're very welcome.
So he can just stay in jail and learn his lesson. I tried. But
Did you know?
She tried.
She tried less hard than my
I've
dick
gone
gets.
through enough legal problems because of this man.
Ooh.
Way too many legal problems because of this man.
And not because of yourself.
Believe it or not, I love this man. Don't get me wrong.
I wonder if Rev bailed her out. and put his shit on the line for her.
He didn't press charges, though. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they were arresting her, he's like, well, I don't want to press charges. They're like, well, you don't get to decide that. So
I love this man. I love him.
Does she?
But at the same time, he annoys the living fuck out of me with his yelling. With his screaming.
It's great,
With his constant bitching and complaining.
Bitching and yelling, screaming, bitching and
That
complaining.
Shani does? What is she doing right now?
Did G-Man was supposed to come down and co-sign to get Rev out, right? Did he come down? Did he hang out with Shan?
He gave her some deep dick in therapy.
Do we know this, or like was there a
I don't
video
know
of
that.
it? Fuck,
Of course
I was
there's
hoping
not.
there was some video of them two hanging out without Rev.
Do you guys want me to email G-Man?
No, but you can.
Okay.
I don't know what you'll get out of it. Like, what's the point? Are you gonna ask G-Man if he was up in them fucking sugar walls?
No, I was just gonna ask if I found out what was happening between Shani and Rev, and I was wondering if you were actually going to go meet her or to go help Rev out, or like what happened? What the fuck's
There was
going on,
always this
bro?
weird sexual tension between G-Man and Shani.
Listen, I've heard about weird sexual tension between G-Man and a handful of people, and I gotta say, all of it makes me uncomfortable, and surprisingly, the least of which is the G-Man part.
Is a negative to him, and I that's annoying, and I've been enjoying.
She can never pronounce the
He's
G.
annoying. He deserves to be in jail.
Yeah, well, I mean, he might deserve to be there. It's weird. She was going to leave him in the beginning of all this. The next day, she was going to bail him out. And now this follow-up video is, well, we have the money, but it's only a fraction of what they're asking. So we're not going to give the bail bonds $500 because we don't want to have to sign over to be responsible for the rest if he doesn't go to court.
But if the uncle is the one funding it, why does she care?
Well, because the uncle doesn't want to put his name on the bail papers in case Rev runs. Then he'll be on the hook for $5,000.
Money.
Well, he gave the money for them to do it. He's like, you go put your fucking name down on the paper. And now,
I mean, yeah, that's fine. But if he's willing to back it financially, either way, right? So if he's willing to say, like, hey, listen, here's 500 for now. I have 5,000 if he runs.
Well, the 5,000 wasn't what he was offering. He was offering the 500 for the bail bondsman. But what Shandy's saying is they'll be on the handle for the 5K if something were to happen with Rev. She's using that as an excuse, not because G-Man doesn't want to sign that over. So G-Man's not going to do that. She's not going to do that. She's going to keep the $500, and she's going to buy a nice big old buffet of cold foods for her and G-Man to eat while they have post-coital bliss.
Am I wrong for siding with G-Man?
No.
Because he's coming into this situation being like, I'm not gonna put my name on the line for this shit. I ain't paying for that shit. Let's just take the $500 and do whatever we want. And Shani's basically saying, Rev ain't worth $500. Give me more.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens here. Rev.
Even though Rev's family is the one where she got the money to live and support her kids for the past X number of years, right? That was his family.
Yeah.
That was his money.
But that's what Rev gets for being an unfuckable human being. It's not my fault Rev was unfuckable and chose to lose his virginity to Shani for Christ and spend $750,000 on fucking bullshit that gets thrown into the garbage after a fucking year and then move into another relative's house across country.
Yeah, dude, you had options. You could have chosen anything else.
No, he didn't have options. That was the problem. He was fucking an incel.
Before or after the money, though?
I don't know.
Like,
he probably used the money to get Shan.
But you could have done better than that.
He didn't know that. And maybe he couldn't. Maybe he is a miserable fucking stink bug, like she says.
Yeah, but he is still... Like, being a miserable person doesn't mean you deserve to get treated miserable. I mean, maybe it does.
Yeah, of course it does. Fuck miserable people. He got exactly what he deserved. Spent $750,000 trying to sustain it. Hit a couple fucking kids. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know if he actually hit a couple kids. It's supposedly
To
the
be
one
fair,
child was
he could have rubbed 2 brain cells together and done a better job. Yeah.
could have rubbed 2 fingers together around his little fucking baby carrot cock and masturbated instead of trying to get his fucking wiener wet in this mountain. But that's what he had to do.
Okay, what happened to Rev? What made Rev the way Rev is? Because
Lack of self
What's his deal?
confidence, over forced love of religion, his religious takes.
And so that leads him to discount overblown Avril Lavigne over here?
Yeah. Look, he sucks. Rev sucks. Rev is a miserable, submissive, shit, horrible fucking man who got stuck in a situation with Shanny for Christ. Honestly, Shanny for Christ is the prize here. If it wasn't for the $750,000 fucking dollars, Rev would have nothing to contribute, and she'd be on to somebody else.
Okay, was Rev as bad before Shanny, or did that escalate?
I assume they always sucked. I don't know Rev before Shanny.
That's fair.
Though. I assume everybody always sucks. Nobody ever gets better.
Everyone sucks. Everyone's bad. Everyone's a loser here. Fuck the whole situation.
Rev probably could have found a better looking hooker that cost him less money in the long run than Shanny ended up costing him.
I literally just called her discount overblown Avril Lavigne.
Okay. I'm just like, but Avril Lavigne's pretty. And
that's why she's discount over. This is like the Avril Lavigne you ordered off a Wish that weighs twice as much.
Yeah.
It's like when you put a street whore in a fucking pool of water and she expands.
I'm just blindly reaching for a single straw of not trash, and Billy's just like, nope, garbage.
All trash.
All the time.
All trash.
All trash every day, all day. Everything
all day,
sucks.
every day. They're fucking. They deserve each other.
The only one who's potentially winning because he's taking none of the responsibility and the only one having sex.
G-Man's getting cucked by it all.
What do you mean? If he's going, okay, so if he's not signing for Rev and he's going there convincing Shanny to spend the money on him, and he's getting his dick wet, and then he gets to leave and have nothing to do with the situation after the fact,
I don't think he's convincing her to spend the money on him. We're not even sure he's over there. I think he's always went out of his way for Shanny for Christ. He literally sat on this fucking show and simulated cunnilingus on an Oreo
cookie
while talking about Shan when she was with Rev.
That was so weird.
An Oreo cookie?
Yes, he simulated cunnilingus in admiration.
One time out of a bowl. He's a weirdo, that guy.
Yeah, they're all fucked. Nobody wins here. These poor fucking kids, I hope they get to go to a summer camp or something because the caseworker came and saw their situation. I hope that's
Can
it.
somebody please, have you guys seen the Dream Daddy dating sim game that's like, that Game Grumps made?
No.
Okay, first off, we need a playthrough from each of you on your own channels. Second off, can we please get a shitty garbage dating sim of the same style with Rev and Shanny and G-Man and 2 other people?
Yeah, that's the new game, is dating simulator, where we have to try and date Rev, Shanny, or G-Man.
Or G-Man, and those are the main 3. You need 2 more. How about it's you 2? You get to pick who you want to
There's no way I'm putting myself on the same level as those fucking miscreants.
That's fair. You don't think people would play such a game? You don't think people would just
They're
play
sick.
it out of the pure?
They would. They're all sick.
The horrific curiosity of what's gonna happen.
They would.
They would for sure.
And it's gross, and it bothers
It'd be
me.
at least 3 stars.
Think of the
on
children.
Steam. Brett Keane would be in there, yeah.
Brett and Amber Heard.
You can't put Amber Heard in there. That's just not fair. This
Yeah,
is the
I
same.
mean, I think Johnny Depp would fuck Amber Heard again before he went after any of those other characters.
I feel like there needs to be one other person. There's too many it's too much of a sausage fest. There needs to be one other girl. Yeah. have to pick one other female that's like involved in this situation.
A long time ago, someone made like a art of a like the cover of a dating simulator, and it was me and Billy, and I had like the mask on, and Billy had the bandana on and everything.
Yeah,
I was trying to find it really quick, but it's buried
cute
somewhere.
as fuck.
You guys want me to make you a new one?
I mean, if you want to.
Look.
Yeah, only if you agree to put it on a shirt before you see the art.
Yeah, sure.
No, I don't know about that.
If it's all buttholes, let's go.
Yeah. In a couple minutes here, we're gonna end the show and we're gonna go do the booking committee for all of our patrons. All the 25 and up patrons are gonna get to be in the actual call with us, calling the shots for our Patreon private shows coming up. But all of the $10 plus patrons will at least get to watch and chat away and give us your opinions. Another thing here, I have to plug the IRL channel down below. You'll see the link, IRL channel. Go there and subscribe because there's going to be more content over there. I don't want to put everything on this channel, so I'm putting other stuff that's not the regular streams over there.
If I actually come and visit you guys, will it be on the IRL stream?
It depends on what it is. If it's in the studio, then it's not. But if
Yeah,
it's
it'll be a mixture of both.
Yeah.
We're gonna
It'd be
force you.
both.
We're gonna force you into many different
you
aspects
doing?
of content.
What are you trying to say?
Talking about the OnlyFaps.
All this just makes me want to come visit Seattle more. When should I come and visit?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Bruh.
I need some notice.
I know. We'll figure it out. Just come down. We're gonna be here for at least 4 more months. So.
What?
Oh my. What? You guys moving?
I don't look. If Ben and I do move, it will.
You're gonna go
be-
save Shanny?
It
We're
will
not
be to
moving.
Shanny for Christ's
We're not
backyard.
moving. I don't know
Tent.
why he just says things sometimes, like the words leave.
Oh my god. The words leave his mouth and it's just like that exists now.
Yeah, it's that simple. I'm trying to find the picture of us as little tooties too.
It's whatever. I'm about to end this anyway.
Never. We're here forever.
All
Do you
right.
guys do a streaming house or like cuz you guys don't live together, right?
No streaming house.
Yeah, we do the show from a discreet location in the bowels of Seattle, Washington.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, that makes sense.
Literally in
so
the
if
bowels.
if I go to stay there, where do I stay?
we were gonna put you in the bowels.
I mean, that is as a goblin, that is where I belong.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll set something up with a live like show, like maybe a big event, and then
The IRL stream is just me sleeping in a hotel somewhere.
yeah, there's gonna be a close-up camera of your feet because we're sick.
Oh my god.
We're sick. Chesh, you want to tell everybody where to go to follow you for the rest of those that don't know?
Okay. Yeah, Ben was kind enough to put the link in the description. You can go find me at Chesh. It's Cheshire Vic if you go to find me there. I do a show called Debate Hub, which is like debates and discussions about all kinds of topics. We had Cindy Lincoln, who is the ex-partner of Kent Hovind, on recently with Dapper Dino talking about geology. I also had Landon Kirk Knoll on to talk about politics with Kirk Wilcox, which was a lot of fun. So that was like 2 independents in America kind of talking about the current American climate. So that's like everybody's gonna get mad about that. Then this Friday I have Dumb Fact Friday coming up with Manya, and we're gonna be talking about I alluded to it before with Dr. Proudman, where we're gonna talk a little bit about like toxic feminism and positive feminism and like the absolute nonsense. If you missed the last Dumb Fact Friday, which was actually on a Saturday, you should go and check that out. And then I have there's a whole lot of nonsense going on with an UN recognized group called the Atheist Alliance International, and they're in some trouble. They have lost their tax exempt status. They may or may not be looking at losing their UN status. They've been going through like presidents like they're fucking popcorns, like just like pop gone. Their recent president just stepped down because there was issues with their electoral process. So I'm having one of their ex-members coming on. When they did their voting, I guess they like just completely ignored some of their members and they didn't get ballots, and their person who was elected was chosen before the election took place. So Shirley's going to come on and talk to me about that on Saturday. So yeah,
Did any of them take a shit in Johnny Depp's bed?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it's only a matter of time at this point, to be honest. Oh yeah, and Sunday I'm gonna be watching the live reaction of the Amber Heard interview, and I am not. I'm gonna have to go to another carton of orange juice.
You're gonna get a mega pint.
I'm busy. I'm a busy boy. Oh my god, I'm working on a month-long series. And it is, so you guys know I play Dungeons and Dragons. You can tell from my background.
Yeah.
I have dice. I have a goblin. I have books. I'm working on a month-long series that's going to be at least 4, if not 5 episodes. And I'm going to break down Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
And I'd be like, what 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons characters are the Lord of the Rings characters? So you have the obvious ones. You've got Aragorn's a ranger, Gimli is a champion fighter, and Legolas is a battle master fighter. But there's a couple that are going to surprise you, and Gandalf will be the most surprising, I assure you. That man is getting his own video.
Are you going to surprise us? How's Gandalf anything other than Elminster?
I'll tell you this. This is what I'm willing to tell you. There's only one wizard in the entirety of that series.
Oh.
I'll let you guess who it is.
Sauron?
Nope.
Sauron?
Nope.
Sword of somebody else? I don't know. Here's your opinion. Here's your opinion. Your opinion fucking sucks.
There's one wizard from like a 5th edition wizard in all of Lord of the Rings, and it's Galadriel.
Okay. All right. Well, we've had enough of your shit, Chesh.
You have to follow my channel if you want Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yes. All right. Everybody who is a $10 patron or above, come watch with us. We're going to do the booking, and those that are 25 or above, come sprinkle your opinions. Chesh, thank you again for hanging with us. It was a lot of fun tearing apart all these devious women, thanks to having a woman on our side, our hot Camille for the night. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. See everyone in the booking committee. Go there now. Bye.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. From the strangest corners of the internet, gonna get TP'd by Billy and Ben. You know where you can find them at. Get ready, cause they're gonna kick your... Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants.